Hello and welcome to another live stream. Oh dear, trying to get myself organized today on TikTok as well, but I couldn't do it. Anyway, how's everyone doing? Thanks for joining us for another Amazon FBA live stream. My name is Simon. I'm a seven-figure Amazon seller in the UK, and I do these lives every Monday, every Thursday, 8 p.m. UK time, where I talk about myself, Amazon, answer any questions you guys have got around Amazon, and just generally just hang out and chat about business and Amazon and fun stuff like that. So, yeah. The main thing though is you guys can take advantage of this time and ask me any questions about Amazon that you want, and I'm here to give you my advice to you and help you out with any issues that I have. Hey Zara, how's it going? Thanks for coming. Zara is a long time viewer, so massively appreciate you coming on, Zara, every single week, pretty much. And yeah, hanging out and yeah, it's good. So if you are watching this afterwards, thanks very much for watching afterwards. I know a lot of people will listen to this in the car while they're working. And some of you obviously like to watch it live. But yeah, no matter how you watch this, it's all awesome. And if you've got any questions, throw them out there and I'll do my best to answer them. Last time we even did some live VAT calculations on the screen. You know, kind of interesting. So yeah, so it's kind of it was an interesting sort of test for me, I suppose. Make sure I know my stuff, right? But yeah, how is Amazon going for me? I'm not going to lie, it's been a bit slow for the past few days. Today is just not good at all. Yesterday was terrible. I need to look through my stock and see, you know, what is going on. My stock levels are dropping, to be fair. So this is today. This is not a good day. You know, for me, this is a bad day. But this is what it is. This is what happens when you take your eye off the ball and you don't source as much. So this is what happens, basically. And you get to the point where you're making £83 profit and quite a poor ROI as well. So, yeah, that's not good, really. But that's how we're doing for the month, though. So I don't think I'm going to hit 10K, which is a real shame. Again, not too surprising because I've not been hardcore sourcing. I've been mostly focusing on the mentoring. And I'm suffering now in terms of my profit. So, but this is where we are for the month. Anyway, we're on £8,072 profit. So, you know, still pretty good. Profit ROI is better than it used to be. Last month, I think the ROI was... Oh, what was my last month? Let's look at previous month. So I'll stack these together. So we've got... I'll put this one below. So this is month to date now at the bottom. And then last month... Yeah, my ROI has been improving slightly. So this was last month where I did actually hit 10,000, but I've had a few refunds and it's now less than 10. But this is the... So we've got previous month on top and month to date on the bottom. So... the ROI is actually climbing a little bit, which is good. But yeah, so, you know, not some bad numbers, to be fair, you know, but not quite where I want to be. And for those of you watching my driving vlogs, you know, I want to hit, at least 10,000. I'm now aiming for those 20, 30K months now. So, yeah, anyway, interesting stuff on that. Let me just go ahead and delete those. I had to do a big bit of admin today, trying to get rid of all these screenshots I've taken. There was like 170 of them, and yeah, just trying to get rid of those. So anyway, but yeah, the Amazon for me is definitely being a little bit slower at the moment. October is a funny month. You'd think it would be better than it is, but it is technically Q4, but it's not. It's just not that great a month, I don't think. Now, some people have reasonable Octobers, but for me, it's always been just like a normal month. You know, a good month, but normally just a pretty normal average month, and not necessarily been amazing. It really is November and December where it really starts flying, and it's probably like middle of November, really. So I don't know what's going to happen this year with the budget. So Zara, you might not know this because you're in Sweden, but yeah, we've got the budget coming out on 26th of November. The economy in the UK right now is a little bit stagnant. I think a lot of people are waiting to see what's going to happen in that budget. Tax is probably going to go up, almost certainly. And yeah, it's going to be, I think there might be a few people holding out and maybe not spending quite as much until they know what's going to happen. I don't know, pure speculation. But yeah, so yeah, if you guys got any questions, feel free to throw them out there. Someone was asking me earlier on this, and I apologize to get back to you on the DMs. Hey Nathan, how's it going? Thanks for joining us. He was asking basically what's a good place to get ungates for perfumes and aftershaves and stuff like that. And yeah, oh hey Clyde, how's it going? Corsex, interesting. Yeah, I said interesting. I'll definitely get to that. Let me just answer this question about ungating perfumes aftershave. So, you know, in the past I've said something like Notino is quite good for get ungating. right now. Oh, yeah, thanks, Nathan. There you go. Cool. Yeah. But honestly, right now, I feel like Notino, if you like use a Notino invoice, it's like it automatically gets rejected. So until this new Ungate system comes in, maybe something like Perfumes Direct, the Perfume Shop, something like that basically might be pretty good. Hey, how's it going? Thanks for joining us. How's your Amazon going, Adrian? How's your Amazon going? We've not had a chat in a few days, have we? Hope you're absolutely crushing it, mate. Yeah, something like Perfume Shop, something like that basically I'd say is worth giving a go. Perfumes Direct, Perfume Shop. There's a few others as well. I'd even go as far as saying maybe Superdrug, but it's hard to get an invoice out of them, so maybe not. Although I was saying that I did get an invoice out of them recently, so it was quite easy. Well, once my VA did it, but I noticed we got that invoice come through pretty quickly. So I think it's just when you absolutely crush it, that site, and get loads of orders, that they. Cause I think what they're doing is they're creating them manually. So if they see that you've done like more than like 1 or 2 orders, they'll get a bit iffy with you. But yeah, it's a difficult one. Ungating's a difficult one right now. When it comes to these big perfume aftershave brands. But yeah, it's not an easy one. So, but I feel like Notino right now, just from what I'm seeing, is maybe almost like gone from a really good one to use to ungate, is to almost like now where they just don't like it for whatever reason. It's really silly. But yeah, so I think it's just with the ungating system is now. Yeah, it's just not great, and there's meant to be a new one rolling out soon, but who knows when it's going to come out. But yeah, it might already be out. I don't know. How's ungating been for everyone recently? I know, Adrian, you got a few brands ungated as well, but not some like big perfume ones, but you got the ones that you could, which is quite, and you're just making do with what you got for now and hoping for the best, I guess, but you're still doing pretty well. So yeah, I was trying to get TikTok working there as well, but apparently I'd lost my permissions to stream there, so through this software. Anyway, I was thinking I need to get back onto the multi-streaming. But yeah, so Claudia's saying, what's your opinion on Corsex? You know what, let's have a look, shall we? Because I actually, let me put this over here. Let's get onto the whole, let me get my Amazon up. Let's actually look at some products and see, because I've definitely looked at some of these, and this is what I do when I'm trying to evaluate a product. So let me do my talking head. Cool, here we are. So I've just searched Corsex, and what I'll do basically is when I'm trying to evaluate. So the first thing I'm seeing here is like a lot of these are sponsored. Now that's not necessarily a red flag. It just gives you maybe a little bit of a warning sometimes that it might be IP. It's not a guarantee. I'll be honest, I don't necessarily always look at it, but if I see a lot of them, I'm like, oh, okay. If I see one, not two, but if I see the whole row of Corsex, it does make me oh, that sucks, Adrian. That sucks. It does. I'll get to that in a second, Adrian. That's absolutely sucks, though. But yeah, basically makes me kind of wonder really when it comes to sponsored stuff. But anyway, what I do is when I'm evaluating a product, I'm going to go into it and I'm looking for. I'm going to open up a few of these. Last time I opened up quite a few of these, it kind of crashed the stream a little bit. So I'll do this very slowly. What I'd do is open up 5 or 10 of these, and I will basically have a look in. And now you can see actually that I basically say this is IP. This is OA Hero here, saying it's IP. We're saying brands on the listing. Let me get rid of Cooper because it's doing my head in. And you can see here that Corsex, if we look at if we look down here, if I remove, if I scroll, there we go, Corsex here, basically. We can see it, Corsex on the right-hand side above me, just above my head, is on the listing. Now, if you see this, it pretty much means do not sell this listing, basically. Do not sell this listing. However, one thing I have noticed is actually if we go on to if we scroll down and look at like the keeper charts, let's tidy these up a little bit, is that we can actually see at the bottom here, we've got a bunch of Amazon sellers. Now, there has been some history here, and if we look on the left-hand side as well, we can see all these FBA sellers, including Corsex. So this is one of these ones where it's like the brand almost doesn't know how to IP. And I think there have been some in the past that we need to be careful and have a look. Like we can see here, there's definitely signs of IP. Going down from 22 down to like 8 people in like one go, and then everyone came back again. If we go back to the all again. Now, one thing we need to be careful here with this resolution of going up 2,400 days is that almost anything can look like a vertical drop. So we need to make sure we zoom in and have a look here. But let's look at this one here, for example. And you can see, actually, if we look at this one here, this one looks almost like a completely vertical drop. But once we actually zoom in on it, we can actually see it's not a completely vertical drop, but you can see there's a lot of people went off this listing pretty much almost at the same time. So it's not like they went off exactly the same time. It's a difficult one. Hey, Kevin, how's it going, buddy? Thanks for joining us. It's a very difficult one to say, is it IP or not? So there's no big red flags on this one apart from these drops, but they're not like a sudden vertical drop where everyone's been kicked off the exact same time, the exact same minute, exact same second almost. It's like they've been kicked off slowly. So I don't know, it's a difficult one, but there are lots of Amazon sellers in there. However, I would normally say, and let's look at a few others as well. Again, Corsex is on this listing. Go away, Coopert. If we scroll down, again, I'm going through all these different listings. Are there any IPs on this? Anything I can see? We've got one kind of here, maybe. I think this is maybe the same time. So was this August 28th? Another good way to detect if something's an IP is go to two different listings and see if it happened at the same time. So this was August 28th. And I think if we go back to that year view, this one here was April, so maybe not. What happened in August? Yeah, this is where it gets difficult now. So we've got this vertical drop, which is August, July time around 2024. Do we have something like that last year? If we go to all, and we go, yeah, we kind of do. I think we've got this drop here basically, yeah, which is around August. So this is two different products now. So this was August 28th, 29th, 30th, basically 29th, 30th. We had all these sellers suddenly drop off. And on this other listing, August 28th. Again, everyone came off the exact same time. And so we can see basically on this one, we've got pretty much the exact same kind of fall down. So this was definitely an IP because everyone came. It's not just like everyone sold out. This is basically everyone coming off at the exact same time on two listings, pretty much the exact same time. We can even see the time as well. So this one here was like Thursday, 29th of August, 1 o'clock. And this one was Thursday, 29th at like 11:38. So it's almost like they were going through their listings. And again, let's have a look at this one here quickly. This one doesn't have any other sellers on it right now. But yeah, this one's not got any more sellers. We'll close that one down. But yeah, it's a difficult one. So what do I think about Corsex? I think you're playing with fire. I think you could jump on this listing, no problem. It looks like other people have. However, there is history of IPs. And the last one was a little over a year ago, I think. Now, again, I'm not seeing any more recent ones here. Any big signs of people get kicked off? I think there are signs, but it's playing with fire, basically. That's what it is. It's playing with fire. So let me go back to the full screen camera now, and yeah, go back to this. So it is playing with fire. So it's one of those brands where, as you can see, there is definitely signs of IP. They're not as clear as day as you normally see. Normally you see a super vertical line of everyone being kicked off at the same time. Let me actually grab one up quickly. I've got a kind of a list of go to my mentoring drive. I've got a Google sheet where I've got a bunch of interesting ASINs, and inside of that I've got where is it? Mentoring resources. Got a bunch of different ASINs, and I'll basically take a quick screenshot of one, so you can see exactly what it looks like. I'll show that to you guys. So you're definitely playing with fire, I think, when it comes to to Corsex, to be fair. So I personally would avoid it. I mean, yeah, I could get away with it as a seller who sells, all the time, but got a good, seller health and stuff like that. But yeah, this is another one exactly a bit more where this is down from 15 sellers down to like one seller or two sellers. You got this big vertical line, everyone being kicked off pretty much exact same time. If you look at that one there, so that's a more clear, I guess, a slightly more clear example of an IP. But yeah, anyway, so yeah, you're playing with fire basically is the simple answer to that. So that is when I'm looking at a new brand, that's essentially the evaluation I'm going through. I've opened up 5 or 10 of those. I'm looking to see, are there any indications of IP? And the other thing is, I've seen brands out there that allow, like, just a bit like Corsex, where they're on the listing. Who was it? I saw one fairly recently. I can't remember now. And it's almost like they just don't know how to IP people. I think they said that. Yeah, I can't remember what they were doing, basically. But yeah, I think they're either emailing people or to tell them to get off the listings. It's almost like they didn't know how to do an official IP on Amazon. So it's like you're playing with fire. It's a matter of time until Course X or whoever brand kicks you off that listing. Anyway, so Adrian had some lost items, which absolutely sucks, Adrian. And he got offered 169 for my 5 units, so 130 down on them. That absolutely sucks, mate. So what you need to do now is try and claim some more money, basically. Go back into that and open a case and say, look, there's a section, where with reimbursements, you can ask for more money. I can't remember the link. I'll DM it. If you remind me, I'll DM it to you. But you can go in and you can essentially try and claim more money back for your reimbursements. You submit invoices, stuff like that. And there's no guarantee, to be fair, but, depends how high you're going to push it, basically. So, hey, Snappy, how's it going? Thanks for joining us. Hey, Franco, how's it going? So I think that was all the questions there in terms of that. Franco, so what are you buying conformations when buying OA, like maximum number of sales and max sellers? What are your buying confirmations? Oh, you mean like what criteria am I looking at, and how am I deciding how many to buy? Is that essentially what you're saying? Maximum number of sales and max sellers. Yeah, let me again show you. Let's do this. Let's do this live. Let's do it. So let's take one of these Course X ones. I think that's what you're asking. Cool. Right. So I would take this listing here. This is a Course X listing we were just looking at. Let me close the other ones down quickly. Close all this other stuff down as well. Right. Let's say I'm thinking, okay, this is an interesting one, but we can still use this example. So this one here is 10,000 sales a month, which is actually ridiculous. Okay. Course X sells a lot, actually. So if I was deciding how many of this would I buy, what I'm looking at basically is I'm looking at the sales per month. Now and what I'd also do as well is look at the sales per month, like the history of it. So Amazon's telling us it's 10,000 now. We can see pretty much for the entire year, it's pretty much lives at 10,000 with sort of peaks up to 20,000. But anyway, let's just say we can see it's 10,000. It is pretty much a minimum 10,000. So this applies whether it's 50 or 10 or 1,000, whatever, basically. What would I feel comfortable buying on this one? So what I then look at is I've got 10,000 sales on this listing in its entirety. Now, with this one, because Course X on there, I would actually look at buy box percentages, but we'll pretend Course X isn't on here because this is a very unusual listing. Let's pretend they're a normal seller. So what I would do then is I'd then look all the sellers on the listing right now that are at a competitive price within about 5 or 10% of the buy box. So we've got this 15.05 one here. We've got 2 of those. We've got this 15.10, 15.15. So what I'd do is I'd look at all these different sellers and I'd say anyone that's probably around between 15 and 15, let's say 50 basically. So I'd count all these sellers up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I would probably include the FBM, 9, 10, and say 11 sellers basically. So then what I do is say, well, we're going to come on the listing as well. So that's 12. So what I do then is basically go 10,000 divided by 12 would be, I'd expect to roughly get about 833 sales a month of this, basically. It doesn't work exactly like this, but this is what, and I apologize, I should be full screen here. But this is essentially what I would do. That's 10,000 divided by 12. And that would give me a rough idea of how many sales I could expect. So how many would I buy here if I was willing to buy a month's worth or 2 weeks? A month's worth would be about 800 sales. 2 weeks is going to be 400. And then if you want to get 2 months, like 1,600, whatever, basically. But normally a month would probably have something around there. So just to kind of give you an idea, basically. So that gives you an idea. I'd say, on something like this, if I could get a good enough price, I'd probably go quite deep on this one. But, for my mentees, by the way, inside of my mentoring program, I'm saying right now, go quite shallow and wide. On this, I'd say, let's get, a couple of weeks, maybe 1 month worth. And I'd say, look, 800 units. This is a ridiculous listing, though, to be fair. But that's how you do it, essentially. So I'm dividing up by the sales per month by the number of sellers on listing that are sort of within the kind of sort of competitive buy box price. So I wouldn't, and it's a big mistake people make, is they go on here and go, okay, well, there's like, there's 23 sellers, let's say we're including FBMs. So they do like 10,000 divided by 23. But do we actually consider this guy at £32.05p a competitive seller? No, he's like double the price. And this guy with £29 and 28 and blah, blah, blah. So, this is where judgment comes in, but I normally say about 5 or 10% of within that kind of price. So, you could even go up to like 16.99. So, but yeah, realistically, this is what I do. This is how I determine how much I want to get. Now, actually, just interestingly, this is such a rare occurrence to be selling on the listing with the brands on there. It's like I just never see it basically, apart from here. So what I would do in this case, I just look at buy box percentage. Now, I don't normally look at this, but I don't normally pay any attention to this. But on this one, you can see Cortex is getting 46%. But this is such a rare occurrence anyway, so let's ignore that. But yeah, anyway, that's how you pretty much determine how you do it. So I don't know, if you've got another ASIN you want me to throw out there and I'll have a look through it, and we can do that live, and I'll tell you how many I'd buy, basically. But yeah, hopefully that kind of explains it. So yeah, it's not rocket science, but essentially you are looking at the sales per month on that listing. You are looking at the number of competitive sellers on there. You're adding them all up, adding yourself on, dividing that total sales per month, divide by the number of sellers. And that gives you a rough idea of how many sales you'd expect to get every month. And then it's down to you in terms of your buying criteria, how many you want to buy, basically. Are you buying 2-week stock, 1 month stock? Comes down to your budget as well. So I always say, what I teach my mentees is roughly you don't want to spend more than maybe 5% of your capital on one ASIN. You definitely don't want to spend more than maybe 20% of your capital on one brand. Again, because if one brand comes along and gets hard gated, you're stuffed if you're at 50%, of your capital's in one brand. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it on that one. Nothing too crazy. But yeah, so yeah. So AD is saying no sales in a couple of days. One of my listings, Amazon have cut the price by £5. I was aware of this when I jumped on listing and normally puts price back. Okay, yeah, so this is the risk with Amazon. Sometimes you get some listings. Let me see if I can find one. I need to find some interesting listings and add them to my let's go for like maybe I'm searching like Nivea right now. I'm trying to find some like Nivea cream or something. Something where when Amazon's on it, it's like dirt cheap. You can't compete. Let's have a look. Maybe this one. Yeah, I'd have to try and find one. Sometimes you'll find basically a listing where when Amazon's on the listing, they sell it for so cheap you could just never, ever, ever compete. But when they're off it, it goes back to like an okay price. So you want to be. This is where you got to be careful and look at. I don't have a problem with being on a listing with Amazon, but I do have a problem being on a listing where Amazon, when they come on, they kill the price basically. But it sounds like to you, you've seen there that they're not always killing it. It's just sometimes maybe. But yeah, so sometimes they'll come on and they'll kill it forever. It's like whenever Amazon's on, they're always selling it cheap. But when they're not, it goes back up in price. So it's like, let me get this one here, for example. And this is ridiculously cheap. But yeah, let me show you this one. I need to figure out a better way to do this, like screen sharing thing. Anyway, let me get this one here. So, right. So this one here, for example, Amazon sell this for £2.83 right now. So even if Nivea are giving you these for free, okay, so if you're getting these for free from Nivea, you'd still lose 60p doing this via Amazon FBA, basically. So, so good luck competing on this one. And you can see here that Amazon are always at a low price, essentially. So not always, but for the most part. So you need to be very careful that when you come on listing, like, this is not a perfect example, but when they come on and they're really cheap, like this cheap, that you're basically, you won't be stuffed. Like sometimes Amazon, it's either around £3.50 or maybe even £3.75, but let's say £3.50. I mean, even then you're still losing money. You can't even if you got this for free, you'd still be losing 9p a unit. It'd send a billionaire to the poorhouse, basically, if you sold it for long enough. So, yeah, basically one thing to be careful of when you jump on listings where Amazon's just always really cheap and they're always in stock as well. So this is a kind of poor example. There are little gaps here where they go out of stock. And I guess we could potentially see, actually it's not really showing it, but okay. Then when Amazon start out of stock, Morrison comes in basically, which is not a good example either. But yeah, anyway, so yeah, just one thing to be careful of. But yeah, it sounds like you kind of knew what you're doing there, Adrian. So it's not too bad. And hopefully they'll come off again or put the price back up. So yeah, there's no point if you think they're going to put the price back up, then definitely just be patient on that one. But yeah, if you've got any ASINs you want me to analyze, guys, they will be showing on live stream. But if you want me to look at them and go, hey, what do you think of this? Give them a cost of goods. I'm happy to do that kind of stuff for you now. Yeah, any other questions? But hopefully, Franco, that answered your question around sort of how do you determine how much to buy? It's not too complicated, to be fair, once you know how. So, yeah. Yeah, any other questions, guys? So I had a really good weekend actually. On Saturday, I literally spent the entire day talking about Amazon. In the morning, I met with a really good friend of mine. We had breakfast at Brown's and we talked about Amazon and stuff like that. And then he was in Nottingham and then meeting up with some friends. Then I met up with some guys in Leicester, basically, who these three guys have got their own sort of office there. They all network together. They all work together on Amazon, share every lead together. And it was really good to chat to those guys about Amazon. And actually, I even learned a couple of new things from them about sourcing. This is why it's really good to network with people because, you know, we have a mutual respect. So I shared a few things with them. They shared a few things with me. I was like, it was really good, and I just enjoyed chatting. I was there for like 7 hours, I think, just talking about Amazon, and a few other bits like that. But yeah, it's just crazy. It was really good. Favorite topic, to be fair. But yeah, I was like, I learned a couple of new sourcing techniques. It just shows you how much. I mean, I know a lot, but at the same time, how much I don't know. And it was really interesting to see the kind of stuff they sell, how they source them, and things like that. And I'm obviously not going to say what it is, but yeah, I was like, okay, it's very interesting. Their kind of ways of thinking about doing Amazon. It was very interesting, and it was really good to, network with those guys. So I think networking, I mean, people always say it, try and network, but definitely network, guys. It's really powerful if you can speak to other Amazon sellers and if you can have a little bit of trust there and just, I mean, the best way to think is just be open yourself, give away your knowledge to people, and then hopefully they'll reciprocate, basically. Because I think that way is a good way to learn. And these three guys, by the way, they all work together in this office, and they just literally share everything. I think you definitely grow more with 2 or 3 people together, a little group, than doing it by yourself. Bouncing ideas off each other. We were bouncing ideas off each other as well. Like, we're thinking about something which I can't talk about, but, we definitely opened up some new avenues of thought with me being there, just bringing a different perspective. And then it was really good. I had a really good day. So yeah, it was really fun. So literally just spent the entire day from like 9 a.m. to like 8 p.m. or 7:30 p.m. talking about Amazon. It was great. And business and stuff. So Franco's saying, seen an OA product on the Arbysource. It had 200 sales a month, but 30 variations. Is that 200 sales between the 30 variations or the one? So is it confirmed sales or estimated? So if it's confirmed, it should be on that particular variation. But the only way to really look into that is dive into it and have a look. Open that Amazon listing up and see what it says under the title. Does it say 200 sales per month on that variation? Have a look and see. So you saw when I showed you that Course X when it said 10,000 a month. There should be 200 a month there for your one. Always use Keep It Check. Exactly, Adrian. Yeah, exactly. Keep It is a really powerful tool. So you do kind of get those charts in SellerAmp, to be fair, and BuyBot Pro as well. But I personally prefer to read them myself in Keeper. I think it's easier. So. So Rich is saying, joining Discord yesterday, genuinely such a great community. Thank you, appreciate it. The community that Rich is talking about there is my free Discord community. There's a link for that in the description. You can come in, join, hang out. It's free. Ask questions. Pretty much just if you ask like, oh, where do you buy products from? No one's going to give you that. But pretty much other than that, it's good. We're pretty much I tell you where I buy my products. Nothing too complicated really. But I've always said multiple times, you want to find out what it is, go and watch my old streams and lives. But yeah, I've pretty much told you most of the places I've ordered from. Order stock from. But yeah, if you're not, you can't, don't just come in and go, oh, where do you buy from? Because no one's going to tell you that kind of information. That's the stuff you have to work for. But yeah, other than that, though, when it comes to helping on Amazon, all the other stuff, it's a pretty open community. So yeah, which is good. I know that like, where do you buy stock from? But even if I told you, you'd be like, oh, I don't know, just a bit, it's nothing like massively secret necessarily. Like when I was talking to these guys on Saturday, I was like, we're talking about sites they source from. They order basically from like 5 sites. This is like, it's just like me. I order from like probably like 5 sites as well. Realistically, like, a vast majority of my purchases just happen on like 5 or 6 different websites. But no, it's a really good community. So yeah, no problem, Franco. Happy to. Is it okay for me to provide an ASIN and price, and please, and you see how to ungate and if it's a good deal? Yeah, sure. I can give you maybe a little tip on ungating, but and see if it's a good deal. Yeah, absolutely. Throw the ASIN out there and have a look at it. Yeah, absolutely. Let's dive in, do some ASIN analysis live. Absolutely. So I can maybe, it depends on the brand and stuff, whether I can give you like an ungate for it. But yeah, we can definitely talk about that. Absolutely. So throw the ASIN out there and we'll have a look, basically. That's I'd like to do that. Then we get prepared for you to put the ASIN out there and then the cost of goods, so we can go from there, basically. Cool. So got the ASIN here. What I'll do is just open it up in Amazon first, and then we'll go from there, basically. How am I not finding this ASIN? Okay, cool. Right, so it's like an interesting one, actually. So is it this? This is the one, right? So this is the ASIN. It's the GJPV, and it costs $3.99. Cool. So I'm assuming you're non-VAT, basically. But what I've done here, basically, you can see here on the left-hand side, I've put in the cost of goods, which is $3.99. The price currently right now is $8.98. Now, you are not VAT registered. So what I'll do is I'll just change the settings here to not registered. Okay, cool. So the current, looking at it right now, the current profit is 84p based on this very static view. Now, what I need to do is then, I wouldn't just necessarily go off this. I need to look at the charts and see. Now, the one thing that's going to be killing you here, I know what's going to be happening. And it's because the fees on this are going to be quite high because is it 2 1 litre things? So it's quite a big and bulky product, essentially. So yeah, and the other thing is there's a few little things. I'm noticing a lot of things on this listing, basically. I'm going to just walk you through everything. So yeah, well, I know this is going to be pretty heavy, bulky, which is probably going to hurt your fees. The second thing I'm looking at is you need to be careful to make sure what the other item you're looking at is the correct brand. Now, what we can see here, this brand is called SlamTech, and it says here, buy SlamTech. Now, this brand is actually Blue Dragon. However, this listing has this SlamTech store brand on here. And what I think's happened here is basically someone has created their own what's called listing under their own brand. Just like if I want to create this listing under my own brand of FBA Mogul, that's essentially what they've done here by the looks of it. Now, I don't know how or why Amazon allow this, but yeah, you don't want to be doing this basically. But also means as well, if you jump on this listing, you could get IP complainted. Because what will happen is you'll get an IP complaint on this one, and then they'll say, well, give us your invoice for SlamTech. And you'll be like, well, I've got an invoice for Blue Dragon. And Amazon will say, well, this is a SlamTech listing, not a Blue Dragon listing. So you won't be able to basically fight that IP. So one of these ones, you'd want to be very careful when you're looking at these things. Now, there's no indicator on IP here, I don't think, necessarily. There might be. But yeah, for that reason alone, because that brand doesn't match up, I would not buy this product, basically. This is essentially a private label product because basically what they've done is they've bundled it together and they've made their own sort of private label thing here. Amazon are clamping down on this massively, so, but yeah, anyway, that's what's happening here. So you wouldn't be able to sell on this listing. If you did, you get kicked off. Now, looking at the actual price chart as well, this is imagine that you could actually sell on it. So what I'm looking at is the price chart here. I'm looking at the year, and this is the 3 months. Sorry, I'm seeing actually, you know what? This was around $11.92, maybe £12. We'll say it's $11.90. So given that kind of price, this is not bad. 52% ROI, £2 profit. It's not too bad. But ever since all these sellers have jumped on, which they could get kicked off at any point, the prices end up falling down. So, but what I do is I look at the year and I can see, well, the price is kind of all over the place a little bit. It's been down to $9.59. It's been up to $12.49. But I'd say as an average, it's probably around £12. But what I then also do here is I'm always looking at okay, what's the worst case scenario here? Now, the worst case scenario is basically right now is £9. So if I sold this and the worst case scenario right now is £9, I'd make 86p. Now, if I was just planning on selling this just for £9, I wouldn't bother with this. But what I'm doing is looking at the downside. I'm looking at the upside. So my downside, I always want my downside to be ideally, at worst case, break even. Whereas here, you are essentially at 86p, minus some costs and stuff. You basically are making money on your downside, which is a really good thing. And then your upside is like, let's say £12.50, £13. You're making £2.52. So if ignoring the fact that this is the wrong brand, I would jump on this, based on that alone. Now, the only thing that is annoying is obviously all these sellers have jumped on, the price has come down. So will the price ever go back to sort of £11, £12? Probably not, basically, looking at this. So that's one thing to be careful of. So you need to look at the history and go, how likely is it that I'm going to sell it for £9? How likely is it I'm going to be selling it for £12? Look at what the kind of price history looks like, basically. And given all these sellers jumping on, I think the price has dropped down a lot. So, yeah, I'd be very careful on this one for multiple reasons. But yeah, that's pretty much it, I guess. Now, Now, I guess one thing to point out is that this 898 is FBM. So coming on as an FBA seller, you might be able to get away with putting the price up a little bit more, but realistically, not too much more. But yeah, they're doing FBM because it's probably cost. So actually, not that I ever normally look at this, but on Seller Ramp, it's showing us the kind of the fees, and what will be you getting killed on here is actually £2.65 is not actually that bad, to be fair. I doubt you could even do it cheaper than that. So yeah, anyway, so yeah, that's kind of my analysis on that one. The big red flag is this SlamTech thing here, basically. That's the thing to watch out for. So let me just go in quickly. Let me find this thing on my... There's one thing that my VA found, the VA that she's inside of my mentoring program. She found this one as well. Which, again, you just need to be very careful. Let me find this one here. I think I've shown this one before already. So, yeah, this one here. So this one here, again, like Diesel's a hard gated brand. You can't sell Diesel, but you can see what someone's done here. It's very naughty. It's very similar to the previous listing. They've created their own brand, and this brand is called Diesel ... So be very careful of things like this. Now, you might get away with this one because, in theory, if you gave an invoice for Diesel, I doubt that the VAs at Amazon have noticed it's got the ... on there. They'd probably fall for that mistake, basically, just like a lot of people might do. But yeah, just another interesting to watch out for, basically, these like dodgy brands like this. I've never seen one like this before, but this is one I saw a couple of weeks ago when the VA found this deal, and I was like, oh yeah. The big suspicion for me on this one was the fact this Diesel's hard gated, so I was like, how is someone selling Diesel? And yeah, it's because of the ... Anyway, so yeah, that's kind of interesting ace in there, mate. Hopefully that kind of explained it for you. I've not actually been looking at the chat, so you might have been asking some questions. Let's have a look. But yeah, so yeah, so that's pretty much that, my analysis on that one, basically. So yeah, for that one alone, seeing that private label brand on there immediately, just don't bother, basically. You could get kicked off at any point, and you'll be asked to provide an invoice for SlamTech, which you won't have. So that's the silly thing of those kind of stupid private label things. So AJ is saying, had 3 silent applications pending after a bit of pushing back, and they're dated 18/20/25. Wondering if we could go ahead and do anything with 18. Just leave them. If they're not responded, just absolutely leave them. Yeah, no, absolutely just leave them. If they're, ungating applications, just let them sit and they'll come through, basically. The other advice I give you when it comes to ungating is don't do more than 1 or 2 at a time. But yeah. So, yeah, and when it comes to ungating that brand, I mean, again, that's one of those ones where you'd have to basically provide, to ungate that, you'd have to provide an invoice for SlamTech, which, again, you won't be able to get, so... Yeah, so that you wouldn't need a Blue Dragon ungate for that one. You need a SlamTech. It's just that's the whole ridiculous thing that Amazon allow these like private label brands. Now, technically, they bundled it together under their own thing. Now, I think it should still be Blue Dragon brand, even if they do bundle it together. But what people do is they'll put it under their own private label brand, like OA Hero or FBA Mogul, to try and keep people off and keep the listing for themselves, which I think is naughty. And at some point, you're going to get burned. Amazon are clamping down on unique bundles. They're clamping down on all this kind of stuff. So. Yeah, it's like for example, you can't. Well, I can't sell Apple, but there are very few people who can actually, who have got really old accounts. You can't sell an iPhone, you can't sell AirPods, but I could create my own bundle together and sell these things at the same time. All right, and put it under the brand of OA Hero. Okay, now that's just essentially just bypassing the brand restrictions. But yeah, technically I could create my own listing like that. I'm pretty sure Amazon would take it down at some point, but in theory, that's essentially what that person's done. Sometimes it's just bundling the same thing together to try and skirt around the sort of IP things, and sometimes it's like bundling, or it could be like selling an iPhone and also a cleaning cloth together. I've got a cleaning cloth here, so saying and going, oh, I can sell Apple iPhones now because it's got a cleaning cloth with it. It's just ridiculous. So yeah, that's one of the silly things with Amazon. It really is stupid, and that catches out new people as well. Excuse me, guys. Sorry, guys and girls, I should say. So right, I've got a DM here. Let me see if it's something to do with the yeah, nothing to do with the stream. But yeah, so okay, cool. Okay, interesting. So we've got another ace in here. I'll definitely jump into this one. So Rich, before I get onto your one, Tazza, and thanks for joining us, by the way, I'll just finish this question with Richard. For newbies, what strategy would you recommend for ungating? Try and sell a handful of brands that you can ungate, or just buy whatever you're selling in order to ungate? Yeah. So if you're a brand new seller, this is exactly what Adrian's doing right now, basically. He's got a few brands that he was able to ungate and auto-ungate. He's getting through that first 3 months on Amazon is like a probation period. Also, the ungating situation is a bit of a nightmare. So what Adrian's doing, and actually what I advise people to do now as well, is let's just try and get some sales under your belt. Sell things that you can, even if you're breaking even on them. Just get some sales under your belt so we can basically prove to Amazon we're real, we're legit, we're a proper company. You know, that's what that kind of 3 month probation is for, essentially. And that everything's going well. And after that 3 months, things will definitely open up a bit more for you. So get some sales under your belt, even if you're breaking even. You know, if you do the right sourcing method, like Keeper Product Finder, you might be able to actually find some profitable products. But yeah, essentially do that. Don't worry about necessarily making money right now in that first sort of 3 months. Let's get your account sort of somewhat matured out of that probation period and then go from there, basically. So that's what I recommend. Now, when it comes to ungating, there are some brands that are easier than others. I'm not going to, there are a few little sneaky tricks which people do. I'm not going to say what they are because I don't advocate you doing them. Again, I always say take a long-term view on Amazon. You're going to be making hopefully £5,000, £10,000 a month on Amazon in a couple of years, 2-3 years, whatever. Are you going to risk that future by doing silly things now? I recommend you don't do it. But yeah, so what I'd say is stick to doing those brands you can sell that auto-ungate. And by the way, to make sure you always click apply and see what it asks for. Sometimes you click apply and it gives you the ungate automatically. You know, make sure you actually do click apply and see what it says and asks for. But yeah, cool. So Taz is saying, got Nathan here. Let me just get it opened up first. So let's have a look here. Right. So this one here, what's the? Yeah, this is a dangerous good. Yeah. So talking head here. Let me go back to this one. Let me just make sure I'm on Do Not Disturb, actually. Supposed to sleep. Cool. So this one is a dangerous good. So it is essentially a perfume aftershave. It kind of essentially, or just it's a fragrance essentially. So yeah, this is got alcohol in it essentially. Not alcohol you can drink, but you can see here product safety on this is here. I think it's even maybe is it a compressed canister or something? Yeah, it looks like a canister as well. It's actually DG on like 2 levels. You've got the sort of hazmat sort of flammable, and you've got the hazmat compressed gas or whatever it is, or compressed liquid. So yeah, this one here is DG. So coming up with dangerous goods, ungated and tried to put inventory. Wouldn't allow me to list as FBA, but it's in my inventory. How do I apply for dangerous goods? Cool. There is so this is DG. So there's if you go to can someone throw the link out there for me? The link for applying for dangerous goods program or hazmat program, DG. It's pretty easy. You just apply for it. 10 days later, you get accepted. But that'll be why you won't be able to do it. You have not applied for it. It's literally just a formality. But yeah. So oh yeah. Okay. Adrian's just sent me a thing here. So just saying you can share the results. So these are Adrian's results. I'm going to throw them out there now or after this in a second and show you basically. But yeah, with this one here, I don't have the link to hand right now, but if you go to Seller Central and search dangerous goods or hazmat application or dangerous good application, you should take you to the place where you can apply for it. It's literally just click the button apply, and then 10 days later you get accepted. It's just a mere formality. So let's actually look at this now as if you could sell it. So buy price is $272. Let me just make my not registered thingy-bob. So you'll be looking right now, if you took a snapshot on this, making 137 and 60% ROI, which is not a bad ROI, but your profit's a little bit low. But it's fine though. Again, if you're just trying to sort of get through some sales through, it's pretty good. Now, this is make sure here. So this is actually Glade. So visit the Glade store, which is good. And we can see here on the top left-hand side, SC Johnson, which I think is the correct brand for this, SC Johnson here. So this looks like it's the correct brand. So given the current snapshot right now, this is a profitable item. Do you know what? If let's say, for example, I could get these all day, every day. What's the sales per month, by the way? 200 sales per month. It's one of these ones where if I was making £1 profit after prep fees, I'd probably still do this myself. If it was an easy one, I could just get in and stuff like that. But yeah, let's actually look at the charts though. So again, we need to look and see not just the snapshot. We need to look at the history and see how likely is it we're going to get this kind of price, or is it going to go higher or lower? Now we can see pretty much the buy box here. If we just do buy box, pretty much lives around £6.90. We jump to the year, and it looks pretty much, for the year, it's pretty much rock solid listing. So in terms of price, it looks pretty good. Now, you can go beyond the year. There's no point, really. I think a year is probably good enough. And yeah, I think this one looks pretty good. And I guess the only downside to this one is Amazon's on here. So Actually, Amazon's here at £4. So again, this is one of these ones where you need to be careful with Amazon. Now, they dropped the price very recently, so you're okay. But normally they actually, looking at this one, I wouldn't be too worried about that. Amazon pretty much are at £6.90. This is one where you could look at the buy box statistics and have a look, but you need to understand, have there been other sellers in the past? How many other sellers have been in there, and how competitive they've been. So this is why I don't normally look at the buy box percentages. But when it comes to Amazon, but yeah, this one looks okay, to be fair. Once you get the DG on there, it's not like the craziest one ever. You probably get, a couple of sales a month, 10, 20, 30 sales a month, and go from there. So, yeah, looks pretty good, mate. I think it looks okay once you can get past that DG thing. Now, the only downside of DG is you need to ship it yourself, so it costs more money to send in. But yeah, apart from that, it looks okay. Not the greatest deal ever, but it's not horrendous. It's not horrendous, but you're not going to get rich off it. But you can probably make some money, get some sales under your belt. So yeah, Adrian said I can share his results. So Adrian's been selling now for probably about a month. Amazon account probably about a month old, I'd say. Maybe selling for a couple of weeks now. These are his results basically. So yeah, amazing. So and Adrian right now is just trying to stick to the brands that he can sell. So 164 profit, sales of 742, ROI is 50, which is really sick actually, and 32 units. So yeah, this is this month basically. And just trying to get that through that kind of tough period on Amazon. But yeah, well done, Adrian. Really good to see. It's just the beginning of an empire. All starts with one brick, doesn't it? After months of frustration, yeah, Adrian, yeah. So, but I think the strategy you're doing is a good strategy, actually. Again, why I like to talk to people, network people, because I actually think the strategies now, you need to do a different to what I did in the past. I could just jump on and ungate things quite easily when I first started Amazon. It's a bit tougher now. Hopefully it gets easier again, it will happen at some point. But yeah, right now we're in a tough situation with Amazon, and you got to go push through the tough times, and you can either look at it as a good thing or a bad thing. It kind of sucks when you're new, but you got to think, well, that means not as many people are going to jump into Amazon, which maybe means by the time you get more matured and get to the point where you're like where I'm selling, there's not as many sellers on there, not as much competition. So yeah, good questions, guys. Here, so Taz saying also got 14 ungates okay, yeah, that well, let's see how they go. Basically, got some taking a long time, the same issue, had reviewed and not allowed to sell. I'd normally say try and stick to one or two at a time. So Franco's saying, had Amazon account from 2018, was ungating most products, lost access to it from back submitting. Do you think I'd ungate me on most products? No, basically your account is reset now, basically. So you're essentially back in that kind of probation period for the most part. You need to just start again and kind of get that sort of first 3 months of selling again. It's not the account age, it's the how many sales basically. In terms of recent sales. So with that one, I'm pretty sure, I've seen it once or twice with people who have older accounts are starting again. And actually one of my mentees is doing that in that situation. And we went to try and do Lego, and they were previously ungated on that, and they need to ungate it again. So yeah, you just need to get through that kind of probation period now and just take it slow, basically. Be patient. That's the main thing, really. So yeah. If you let an account sort of rot, if that makes sense, you don't use it for a long time, Amazon do regate you on a bunch of stuff, and essentially it almost becomes like a brand new account. It's not quite. You probably have some interesting stuff on there, but which might be kind of interesting. But for the most part, you're pretty much a new account again. Also, can you send the link to the application? I think if you just literally go to Seller Central, in the top, go to the search bar and just search Dangerous Goods application or Dangerous Goods, and in there you'll literally find it within 30 seconds, I think. It is that simple, to be fair. Is there a way to quickly see what brand you're automating? No, there isn't, unfortunately. That would be nice, wouldn't it, basically? That's an interesting idea, actually. That's an interesting idea. I like that. Yeah, I like that idea. I could code that probably. So it just runs through a crap load of brands and tells you what ones you can sell and what ones you can't. Interesting. That's a good idea, actually. There's no tool that does that, but that's a really good idea. Okay, yeah, I like that. That's a really good idea. So, yeah, thanks for that. I'll try and maybe send that. I don't know if Paul OA Hero right now, I've still not done a new update for that one. So, yeah, I probably won't have time to do it, but that's a really good idea, though. Maybe I'll get my developer to look into it. But yeah, but right now there's no real option for that. Now, one way you could kind of go around it, I suppose, no, it doesn't really work that way, because sometimes you just need to click it kind of will work and kind of doesn't, because if you take your account, Adrian, you're thinking the Arby source kind of way. The only problem is what brands are like auto ungate, but you need to actually physically click apply. If you do it through like the API and you like check it, it'll say restricted. But if you just click apply, it'll immediately. So Arbisource might be a way to do it, to be fair, but at the same time, I think you'll miss a lot because you're not able to click apply, and that's the weakness of that approach. Yeah, but yeah, I was thinking the exact same thing, Adrian. Great minds think alike, actually. I was thinking, you could just run that Cogita catalog through there. Click, do it with restrictions on. It'll take bloody ages to do, but it'll go through and tell you. But it might not be a bad idea, to be fair. Yeah, actually, it might work. You'll miss a lot, but you might get some as well, to be fair. So, interesting. Yeah, that's cool. And you can use ChatGPT. Yeah, interesting. Okay. DM me, Richard, at FBA Mogul. You can see me on my Discord as the, as the sort of admin there. And I'll come up with like a sheet we can try maybe, and we can get you onto Arbisource and we can give it a go. So we can give it a go, and it could be interesting, to be fair. So yeah, we'll try something. It could be kind of interesting. Yeah, we'll try and go from there. It's an interesting idea. Yeah, I'm thinking basically is take something like the Cogita catalog, throw it into ChatGPT, say give me just like one ASIN for every brand, and then throwing that into Arbisource, just running through every single one with the check restrictions on, and go from there. Basically, yeah, I appreciate. It probably won't be today, Richard, but tomorrow remind me, and we'll do something like that. But since you don't want, that could work. Basically, it could be interesting to test. I like that idea a lot, actually. That's pretty cool. Interesting. I can't work on ChatGPT now, basically. What I'm saying is, like, give me a list of all brands on Amazon and one corresponding ASIN in a CSV file. Let me see what it comes up with ChatGPT. But yeah, that could be another way to do it as well. So, interesting. Yeah, anyway, that's just, yeah. It's made me think. That's a very interesting idea, actually, yeah. So, the only thing I see is the problem is, like, you could try, you say, oh, can I, like, sell 7-Up, for example? It will say no, but actually, if you just go through it and just click apply, it would say yes. It's one of those, that's the only difficulty with this approach. But yeah, but we could probably find some anyway, which is interesting. Yeah, appreciate that. That's a good idea. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, this is exactly why I like doing these things, because you end up like bouncing ideas off each other, and it's just like, it opens up different avenues. So, but yeah, okay, interesting. So I don't know what ChatGPT is saying to me, but yeah, made your Python script. That's not what I asked for, but okay. But interesting. Okay. Yeah, it's something I'll look into, actually. It might be a little evening experiment, having a little play, write a little script or something like that, and to go through. Yeah, it's interesting. Let me go. Is there a list of all brands on Amazon.co.uk? Let's do that, basically. I know a few places. Yeah, I've got a few ideas around this anyway. But yeah, good question there. Good question. I've got a few ideas. I know a few sites where we could get some good brand lists. Combine them together. It wouldn't be extensive, but it'd be not too bad. Interesting. Yeah, any other questions, guys? It's been a good session, actually. Any other ASINs you want me to analyze? Any other questions you've got? Anything like that, let me know, basically. But yeah, so after this, I probably won't sit down and start coding, but it has got me intrigued now, actually. It could be a very interesting thing for people to help people out, because it is tough when you're new. It really is tough on Amazon. So, yeah. Anyway, hopefully next time I'm on is Thursday, 8 p.m. I'm going to try and get it going on Instagram and TikTok again, try and do the kind of multi-streaming thing. So you'll have a few more options there if you prefer TikTok or Instagram. We'll see how that goes, basically. But yeah, I thought I was trying to get back to multi-streaming again. What was your day job before FBA? Don't mind sharing. I was a software engineer. Hence why I think down these lines, essentially. Yeah, as a software engineer. So, yeah. So, Claudia, do you ever scan the Cogita catalog by brand or categories or exclusive Cogita? I only use the price drops, Claudia, yeah. Yeah, exactly, Richard, yeah. So, this is why it sends me down these little paths, basically. Essentially, a software engineer is just essentially just a professional problem solver. That's all you're doing, basically, and just solving problems with code. That's how I always described it. And sometimes the problems are really simple and sometimes they're more complex. So I used to work for a pharmaceutical company, or it was a software company that provided software for pharmaceutical companies running clinical trials. So we basically made what was called a CTMS, or clinical trial management system. And that basically was the software that you would like, essentially it's like the overarching software, and there's lots of softwares you use, but the overarching software that you use to run a clinical trial. But there will be loads of little softwares inside there as well. Like one would be, for example, one that would like blind all the, not blind the patients, but basically like so the doctors wouldn't know who, essentially it'd like decide who was getting a placebo, who was getting like the real drug, essentially. So it'd like blind them, but also de-blind them as well if there's an adverse event. All fun stuff, basically. So, for example, someone might not know if they're getting the real drug or whether they get placebo, but if something goes wrong, the doctor needs to be able to know immediately whether that was a real drug or not, basically. So all that kind of stuff. But yeah, that's what we basically built. So I built that software from the ground up with one other guy. It was an interesting bit of software. Very well tested. Let's put it like that. It wasn't on the level of like aircraft where that goes through a totally different thing, but it was pretty yeah. So I did some fun stuff like that. Like I built the audit trail and stuff around there. So which I wanted to do in blockchain, which I thought would have been a really good thing for the investors, but my boss didn't agree. So I think we'd have got way more money raised if we just used the word blockchain in there for the audit trail. But anyway, it's what it is. Yeah, definitely you can try a category search on Arbitrum with restrictions off. Yeah, it could be. Yeah, exactly. That's an interesting idea, isn't it, actually? So let us know how you got on, Adrian. Sounds like you're diving into this. See what other things you can sell. This could be really interesting. I've not thought about it that way, but yeah. But my immediate thought was Arbisource and how we could use that. But yeah, it's just that apply to sell is just the annoying little thing, basically. But almost what you want is some software that kind of does it for you. Now, like SellerAmp kind of does it in a way. You can click apply to sell, it does it. But you almost want it to check whether you can sell it. And if you can't, it just clicks apply to sell. And like it does that check for you. Like a clicks apply and then go that way. It could be very interesting, actually. Yeah, it's interesting stuff. But yeah, that's my background anyway. So, but yeah, I really enjoyed working for that company. But I've got a whole origin story, by the way. You can, if you want to watch, it's one of my more popular videos, actually. I'll post it out there for you guys so you can watch it afterwards. And it tells you about my Amazon journey. It tells you what I did before and then how I got started in Amazon and, yeah, and all that kind of fun stuff. So let me find it here. Get shareable link. I think it's this one here. Yeah, basically that's the I guess after this, guys, check that video out. That is my story of Amazon. Talk a little bit about what I did before and all that kind of stuff. Basically, it's a good video. So yeah, so definitely a good one. It's, I guess, one of my kind of sort of highly polished videos, highly edited, highly polished, and kind of like fancy. I need to do some more like that actually, because it got, how many views did that get? Yeah, did better than normal, like 1350. So I hope my internet's not died. Apparently that page just crashed. But yeah, anyway, so sorry, I'm rambling now a little bit, but yeah. Anyway, I worked on one of those tools that you've mentioned in this live stream. Oh, okay, interesting. What tool was that? Can you message me? I'm interested now. Okay, cool. Interesting. I can't remember what tool I've mentioned now. Yeah. But yeah, what tools have I mentioned? Anyway, yeah, cool, interesting. That's awesome. But yeah, that's of course. I'll be very interested to see. I won't obviously say, but I'll be interested. Oh wow, in crazy. Okay, that's crazy, mate. So yeah. So if you have a software engineering background, you could do something similar there, mate, and kind of go through that. But yeah, I'd be interested. Yeah, well, I'm not going to reveal what that is, because I was going to say I'd be interested to hear your thoughts, but kind of give it away, I suppose. But yeah. Anyway, so. Yeah, that's awesome. So are you, Richard, you're new to Amazon then? You're trying to make this like your like full-time income, side hustle? What are your kind of plans with it all? Are you in the UK as well? Another good question for you there. So yeah. Cool. Let us know anyway. Well, I'll probably stay on for another sort of 5-10 minutes if there's more questions to come in. Otherwise, we'll wrap it up. But yeah, it's been a really good session. Actually, we've got some live ASINs. Nice. Cool. What UK? Nice. But yeah, we've got a lot of people right now trying to get into Amazon. I think we're going to see a little bit of an influx of people coming into Amazon. I've spoken to a lot of people who are maybe a little bit worried about their jobs being made redundant potentially, with the economy potentially going a little bit sideways in the UK and maybe even the West. A few more people may be looking to build some resiliency in their life by building up a side hustle that may end up taking over and being their full-time income, but having that kind of side income coming in. I think it's a sensible thing, to be fair. And Amazon is one of those ones where, yeah, it's basically one of the best ones as far as I'm aware. So actually, I was chatting to those guys on Saturday, and they were saying, one of the guys was saying, yeah, I've tried so many things, like, yeah, so many different things, and he's always come back to Amazon because that's the one that's always worked for him. It's been like a cash flow machine basically to make, well, not just cash flow, but to make profit. It's been one of those ones. So I think Amazon, I think we're going to see an influx of people coming in doing side hustles, not just Amazon, but other ones as well. There's a lot of economic indicators showing that we're going to come up for a recession, or that definitely there's something going on. Like gold price, for example, is through the frickin' roof. I don't know if that's just FOMO or what that's going on there, but gold price is just, it's always appreciated over time, but it's been a slow gainer, and now it's just going through the roof. It's just absolutely crazy. But yeah, anyway, so I think we'll see a lot of people coming on, and it'd be good for me because I do these live streams and stuff and have people coming on, which is awesome. So yeah, anyway, we'll wrap it up there, guys. Massive appreciate you all coming on. Don't forget, by the way, as I always forget. Oh, hey, how's it going? Oh, we can stay on then. If you got some questions, by the way, I'm good, thank you. Cheers, Josiah. But yeah, come on if you want any questions, mate. Don't forget, guys, enter for the MacBook. There's a MacBook giveaway, so the link's in the description. So, if you want to do mentoring with me, you want to apply for that. There's a link for that in the description. If you want to join my free Discord community, there's a link in the description. Well, I can. If you got any questions, I can stay on. I don't mind. So it just felt like it was coming to sort of a natural conclusion. But anyway, you got all the links there for that. So if you want to do mentoring with me, there's a link in there, guys. OA here is there as well. If you want to join my free Discord, you've got that, and then you also got the link for the MacBook giveaway as well. And there's lots of ways to enter that. But yeah, maybe this will carry on. Who knows? You've got some interesting questions. We can definitely carry on. But yeah. Otherwise, we'll wrap it up. But it's been a good session overall. So, yeah, it's been pretty good overall, to be fair. So, we've definitely covered some interesting topics. But yeah, I'll probably wrap it up there, guys. It feels like it's coming to a natural conclusion now. But yeah, you've got all the links, all those kind of things. Like I say, if you want to talk about mentoring, there isn't a link in the description for it. But if you just want to have a chat with me for 15 minutes, it's free. Just come and have a chat. I can help guide you on your Amazon journey. If you don't want help, want to ask me a question, sort of one-on-one, join my Discord. As a part of that, there's a link, and you can just book in a free 15-minute call. Let me just get it up for you guys here. Let me just find it. I'll throw it out in the chat. You can book a free 15-minute call with me if you want, and there you go. So that's just if you want to book a free 15-minute call with me. There's a free thing there. Basically, you can ask me any questions, and sometimes it goes on for more than 15 minutes. Sometimes it is depends on my schedule and stuff. And then yeah, if you want to do the mentoring, Josiah, then basically the link is in the description. It's the first link. You can book that or book a discovery call, and we'll see if it's right for you. We'll see if it's the right fit for you. I had a call with someone today, and it's going to be tough on the finances for them. So I think, which is again why we do the kind of the discovery call, to make sure it's a right fit for both parties, essentially, if that makes sense. So, but no, it's been good, and we've actually got 8 students so far in the mentoring, which is really awesome. So it's been going pretty well. I was hoping to get to 10 by the end of October, but we'll see. We'll see. And but yeah, and right now, and then not a sales tactic, although it kind of is, but it's not. Not really. But basically, we're putting the price up after 10 people. So. But yeah, if you book a call in before then, though, you'll be locked in at the old price, basically. But it is a lot more work than we're expecting, and we're always adding to the curriculum and teaching more stuff. So we're putting that price up. Basically, when we get to the 11th person, basically, he's paying that kind of that higher price. But yeah, so if you want to kind of lock yourself in and get that lower price, then just book a call, and then we can go from there, basically, and we'll have a chat about it. But yeah, awesome. Thanks, guys, for coming on. I'll be back again on Thursday, 8 p.m. Look out tomorrow at 7 p.m. because I'm going to release my latest driving vlog, so that'll be out. I've got 2 to post. I'm going to do one Tuesday, one Wednesday. And then on Thursday, I'll be back on live here at 8 p.m. for any more questions you've got about Amazon. So you can get free mentoring from me by coming on here every Monday, Wednesday and asking me questions. So there you go. You can do that if you want. But yeah, awesome, guys. Thanks very much. And I'll see you guys on Thursday.